Hi everyone, and welcome to this presentation all about Amazon Ads Mastery. So my name's Teddy Smith. If you haven't met me before, I'm in the UK. I live in Leeds. I'm originally from London, but I live in Leeds in North England, where it is a bit freezing at the moment. So it'd be great to hear in the chat about where you're from. Just introduce yourself and we can say hello. We'll be starting the presentation in around 5 minutes, but today, now's a good chance for you to say hello and to tell me a bit about where you're from. So I can give you a bit of background about where I'm from and what I do whilst we're waiting. So as I mentioned, my name's Teddy. You can see that on the screen. And I am an author and I'm also a self-publisher. I've got lots of books for sale on Amazon and in other places as well. I sell mostly non-fiction books, well, actually entirely non-fiction books, although I do have a background in fiction books too. So I've got 22 books, non-fiction books live at the moment, mostly in the spirituality and meditation niche. But I've also do books with my wife. I do a lot of consulting, helping other authors, especially with Amazon. And to be honest, mostly it's with Amazon ads, which is my speciality. I've been selling on Amazon ads for quite a few years now, both products and in books. So I do have a lot of expertise in this area. So great, we've got some people in the chat already. So we've got the Best Clark from Utah. Welcome. We've got Patrick from Birmingham, pretty close to where I am now. We've got Ted tuning in from Wellington. Wow, so it must be super early for you in Wellington. It's like 3 a.m. or something like that. Got Michelle from Paso Robles. I was not too far away from you last week. I went to Las Vegas to a conference called Author Nation, which was in Las Vegas. It was a fantastic conference. And if you are an author, definitely something you should consider going to. On my podcast, which I will mention in a second, I did a few live sessions from the conference. So if you want to get a taste of what it's like, you can maybe check some of those out. Got North Carolina. I've been to North Carolina. I went to Boone and Asheville last year. Who else? We got Arizona. Wow, quite a nice span of people. Austin, Boston, a lot of Americans. We've got some actual Dibbly writers as well. Fantastic. Welcome, Jay and Michelle. Yeah, if anyone's got I would say if anyone's got any questions about that conference I just mentioned, I would say check out my podcast, which I'll speak to you about in a second. But if you want to look at it now, it's called the Publishing Performance Show. You can see the name is Publishing Performance, and the show's called the Publishing Performance Show. Who else we got here? Oh, Anita from the K Express program. Oh, welcome. Yeah, nice to see you. It was funny. I was going through the Urban Writers platform the other day, and I just, whilst I had a K Express coaching session, and I just saw a picture of my face plastered all over the Urban Writers or the Dibbly platform. So it was like a big billboard, and I think maybe my client thought that I was in some kind of scheme where I was just selling my own work to them. But yeah, thanks for all the nice to see you. Yeah, Charmaine, great. South Africa. I'd love to go to South Africa. That's next on my list, I think. Wow, terrific to see so many people on the call. For anyone who's arrived late, my name's Teddy, and I'm from Leeds in North England. It's kind of in between Manchester and York, Old York, that is, if you don't know where it is. Originally, I'm from London, which is why I don't have much of a northern accent. Julie, I've spoken to you before, I think. So nice to see you. Yeah, brilliant. Fevin from Ethiopia. Wow, that is I don't think I've had Ethiopia might be a new one for me. Although Fevin, I've got a feeling we've spoken before. So nice to see some people that I recognise on the call. That's fantastic. Oh, hi Justin. Yeah, that is a long time no see. It's been a couple of years now. I'm not in France anymore, unfortunately. But I am moving to Portugal next year. So I've got a new adventure coming up. At the moment, I'm in Leeds, which is not quite as exotic as Portugal, but still, it is quite nice up here sometimes when the weather's not awful. Great. Well, I think we are more or less ready to start. We've got about 30 seconds more. So if you just want to just quickly introduce yourself in the chat. Once I start the presentation, I might not be able to look at the chat too much, but we've got some helpers looking at the chat for you. So if you have got any questions, please pop them into the chat and we'll come to them at the end. We've got a good amount of time at the end of the presentation to go through some Q&A. So it really is a good opportunity for you to ask some questions about Amazon ads or about anything to do with publishing using Dibbly or using Amazon. So yeah, please feel free to pop your questions into the chat and we will collect the questions as the chat goes on and I'll answer them at the end. So I won't be stopping to answer during this. This is recorded. So if you are, if it's Thanksgiving, or it is Thanksgiving, where everyone's celebrating, the US people are celebrating not having us in charge anymore, then I hope you are having a great day. Happy Thanksgiving. We're not going to be, this is recorded, so hopefully people who are celebrating Thanksgiving, we won't be able to take up too much of your time. But yeah, we're going to now get started. So I'm just going to share my screen and I hope you enjoy this presentation all about Amazon Ads Mastery. So yeah, so just to give yourself a bit of an introduction, my name's Teddy. If you haven't met me before, I am an Amazon bookseller. I'm an author, I'm a publisher, and I've got lots of books for sale, 22 books, in fact, non-fiction books for sale on Amazon and also in other places as well. I also work with my wife who writes alongside me, and we've got even more books. And I am the head of partnerships for a software tool called Publishing Performance, which we'll be talking about just at the end. And today's session is all about mastering Amazon ads. So we're going to introduce you to some of the key terms for Amazon ads and to help you get off to the best possible start. So the reason for this session today is a lot of you might have books which aren't selling very well, and you want to understand how you can improve those sales. You might be writing books and you don't have any time for ads, and maybe you find them quite complicated. You find them quite scary. That's all completely understandable. You might even have tried ads before and they aren't working. You might have looked at the campaigns and they're very overwhelming. You might have run out of budgets. You might have not understood the reports. You might have had lots of clicks or no sales. Either way, this is the presentation where we're going to go through exactly how the basics of Amazon ads work. And then we're also going to be going into a great tool which is going to do everything for you, so you can set and forget your ads without having to do anything else, which I think sounds good to a lot of people. So stay tuned till the end where you can get some more information about that tool. So just a quick introduction. So my name's Teddy Smith. I'm a self-publisher and an author, and I've sold well over 7 figures on Amazon itself. And I'm also the host of a podcast called The Publishing Performance Show. And that show is live on all the main platforms. You can search for it and go and find it yourself. I believe there was a link posted to it in the chat, so if you want to do that. But the reason I'm here today is because I'm the head of partnerships for Publishing Performance, which is the tool we're going to be talking about later on today. And the reason we created that tool in the first place was basically because we found ads extremely frustrating. When I still have a business which sells products on Amazon as well. And when I'm selling those products on Amazon, the sale price for those is maybe 30, 40, 50. One of my products is even $90. So there's a lot more profit margin to play around with ads to help you to learn the basics. And there's lots of tools out there helping Amazon sellers, product sellers, in order to do their ads. There wasn't too much around helping authors to do their ads. And so I found ads really frustrating when I was selling books. There's a small profit margin. Sometimes you can be bursting through that profit margin quite quickly. And so I found ads really frustrating, and I wanted to create a solution that fixed that. So here's just a picture of one of our KDP accounts. So you can see some of the royalties estimators we've had over the last few years. So we've sold loads of books on there, and well over $2 million in sales with my business partner. And this is a link to the podcast. So if you wanted to check me out later on, you can see I have awesome interviews with some amazing publishers and self-published authors. We had the writer Kevin J. Anderson on as one of my first guests, and he wrote the books, which are the June books, which the films are based on. So absolutely amazing to get some of these really high-level guests on, talking all about different tactics to do with selling books on Amazon. So give that a check that out if you get a chance. Now, this is the plan for our time together today. So firstly, we're going to talk about why Amazon is the main platform for you to be focusing on. Then we're going to be talking about how Amazon ads work. And then different types of why ads for different types of books can help you to be more profitable. And then we're going to look into how publishing performance can help you do all of your ads without doing any work at all. So it's like a set and forget solution. So firstly, let's have a think. Why would you be selling your books on Amazon? Now, Amazon is by far the biggest marketplace for books. Now, you probably already know this, but just for, Amazon takes up something like 80% of the book market, the online book market in the US. There's other players like Barnes and Noble, or in the UK, there's Waterstones, but Amazon is the biggest marketplace. And also, it's by far the biggest marketplace for self-publishers, just like you guys. And what I love about Amazon is it's got huge buyer intent. When people are going to Amazon, they're not trying to look at funny cat pictures. They're not trying to look at pictures of babies or chat to their friends. They're literally just there to shop. And as a result, Amazon has a great conversion rate. Lots of people who go onto Amazon end up buying things. There's a huge buyer intent, and it's got a lot of trust. Lots of people trust Amazon to sell their books, get them onto their Kindle, get them in print, all those sorts of things. And it's got high trust. It also covers loads and loads of countries. So I'm not going to name all the countries, but basically all of the English-speaking world, most of the Western European world, and some other key markets such as India, UAE, Japan. And there's lots of different formats which you can print your books. If you sell your book, you can do it in paperback, you can do it as an audiobook, you can do it as an ebook. So it basically gives you lots of opportunities in order to sell your book to different types of customers. Fourthly, it gives you fair commissions. You get great royalties, especially considering Amazon can do the printing for you, and you've got that great conversion rate, and Amazon brings the customers to you. So you don't have to do too much on that side of bringing the customers to you. And finally, it's the ad platform. Now, Amazon's inbuilt ad platform makes it, relatively straightforward in the long run to do your ads if you know what you're doing. And we're going to explain a little bit about that now. So let's have a think about how Amazon ads work and why they're so important. So firstly, Amazon is by far the biggest ebook platform in the world. It doesn't really need any more explanation than that. But one thing that you need to think about with Amazon is that it's a search engine, just like Google. Customers go there, they search for things, and then results are then shown to those customers based on what that customer searched for. So if you go onto Amazon and you search for books about yoga, then Amazon's going to show you results of different types of yoga book. And that is basically why we call it a search engine. Now, searchers are basically just looking to buy products. That's exactly why they've gone to Amazon. They've gone there to buy books. They've gone there to research books to buy, but also to buy them. And they find books using keyword searches. And now this concept of keywords is super important, and it's going to tie into everything we do with ads throughout this presentation. The reason we use ads in the first place is to make sure we get more keyword searches taking customers directly to our books. Now, what I mean by that is, because Amazon is a search engine, it ranks the results on the page in an order called the organic rank. Now, we're going to go into exactly how that works, but we need to be at the top of the rank because we want customers to see our books so that they can buy them. Now, whilst Amazon's learning about all this customer behavior, they track lots of bits of data about your book. So they'll track which keywords customers search for to find them, how many clicks there are, what the click-through rate is, how many people buy the book, obviously, how many people add it to their basket, lots of these little things. And then they use that to make decisions about whether to show your book in the ranking or not. Now, if you're not using ads, you're potentially leaving money on the table because you're not appearing near the top of any of the searches. Now, this is exactly how the Amazon organic rank works. Now, if we just skip on 2 pages. So before I go into exactly how the Amazon rank works, I thought I'd just quickly show you a page on Amazon. So let's have a look here. So I've just typed in, this was earlier today, so I just typed in romance books, and you can see the book that's coming up at the top. This is what's called the rank. Now, if you see below these pictures, there's something called a little sponsored badge. Now, this sponsored badge means they've paid to appear here. That means that this book here is organic rank number 1. And I'll show you exactly how this book is appearing for this keyword now. So the organic rank works like this. In order to make any sales at all, or to get people onto your listing, you need to get traffic. And then once you've got that traffic, people can come onto your listing and then they can purchase your book. Once they've purchased the book, they can leave you reviews, and that will improve your reputation, and that will improve your organic rank, which will then in turn send you more traffic, which will lead to more purchases, etc., etc. Now, this method is kind of called the flywheel. You see, it's a way of explaining exactly how the algorithm works in quite basic terms. But basically, if you get more traffic, you make more sales, you get more reviews and reputation, it increases your rank. And then as a result, you get more traffic, and it keeps going and going and going. Now, the reason we use ads is because this traffic part is quite difficult to get unless you're using ads, or you're using or your book is in a very uncompetitive category, or if you're just lucky. But in order to get traffic, you need to appear in the ranks, which is what I just showed you just now. And that means appearing right at the top. If you don't appear near the top for your particular keywords, it's unlikely you're going to get too many clicks. And as a result, you're not going to get that flywheel kicking off. Now, the algorithm works a little bit like this. Now, this is a little chart I've created to explain exactly how it works. But there's basically 5 aspects to show you how the algorithm works. Now, firstly, you've obviously got relevance. Now, relevance is probably the most important one. You know, if your book is about yoga, then you want people to search keywords such as yoga book in order to find your book. That's what relevance means. How relevant is your book to the search term that the customers have inputted? And the second factors are sales history and availability. Now, for most of you who are selling books on Amazon, your book will always be in stock because it's an ebook, or you're using KDP, print on demand. So you don't necessarily need to think about the availability one, but sometimes you need to think about the availability if your book's not print on demand, for example, if you're traditionally published. The next part is sales history. So sales history is where Amazon look at the sales history for your book. So for example, they'll look at how many sales you've made against a particular keyword, because Amazon, especially when you first launch your book, Amazon don't know exactly what keywords your book is going to be ranking for. So what they do is they like to see you make sales against a particular keyword, so that they go, when people search yoga book, they buy Teddy's book. So as a result, what we're going to do is next time someone searches yoga book, we're going to push that book higher up the rankings to give it more of a chance of getting seen and purchased and kicking off that flywheel. Now, Amazon wants to make sales. That's the main aim of Amazon. That's their only reason for existing. So they want to make sure that people are searching for their book, but finding it and then buying it. And then there's 2 indirect factors such as reviews and your reputation. And also Amazon tracks your customer behavior. Now, you don't have any control over this as an author, but Amazon tracks customer behavior. But all of this stuff factors into the algorithm, which then Amazon use to make their organic rank. And this is a really important concept to understand. Now, you might be wondering why we're talking about organic rank so much when we're doing a presentation about ads. Well, the reason is because organic rank is great, but you won't get any ranking for your books unless you have made sales for those particular keywords. And that's why Amazon ads are so powerful. Because if you see here, this book, Forged in Blood, Dark Paranormal. Now, I did this search today, so this is relatively recent. It's got 5,600 reviews. This one's got 207,000 reviews. So these are clearly like very popular books. But we can see here, there's books here with fewer reviews. Like this one's only got 6,000 compared to this one with 200. So this book, Finding Haze, they obviously really want to be ranking for this keyword, romance books, which is why they're advertising for it. And as you can see, they've actually jumped ahead of A Court of Wings and Ruin, even though it's a smaller book, because they wanted to rank for this keyword. So they're paying a bit of money to appear near the top. And that's exactly what the power of Amazon ads is, because now we're appearing at the top of the organic rank. And now we're appearing at the top of the organic rank for this search term, romance books. If I went on and clicked on Finding Haze and then bought it, Amazon will go, when people search romance books, they buy Finding Haze. So what we're going to do is next time, we're going to show Finding Haze higher up the rankings so that it has more of a chance of getting purchased. I did one for nonfiction as well, just so you could see it is the same for everything. Now you can see this book, Life Skills for Teens, 9,500 reviews. It's obviously a very popular book. This book, and it's actually in the organic rank #1 and it's in the ads. Whereas this book, 239, is second, but this one's only got 41. It's a brand new book, but they want to appear in the rankings. So as a result, they are appearing near the top. This is just a quick quick chart I've got from a website called Advanced Web Ranking. So this isn't my chart, but it basically shows you the click-through rate for different positions on Amazon. So it shows you that if you're in position 1, this is actually the first row, then your click-through rate is 30%. And it goes down as you get further down the rows to being very small when you get to the second and third page. So it just shows you the importance of appearing at the top, which is exactly why ads are so powerful in getting you to the top of those rankings. So how do you rank high? So going back to the algorithm, and I've got another picture of it here just so that you've got some memory of it. There's a few things you can do. It's obviously not just about your sales history, but firstly, you've got to make a great book. Now, obviously, if you're writing yourself, that's great. You could use something like Dibbly Create to help you to create that book and using the AI features there to create the book. Or you can use the Dibbly freelancers to ghostwrite your book, which is what I've done for many of my books, to help you create a really good product. If you haven't got a good book, there's not too much you can do. I always say this to people in consulting calls: you can't advertise, you can't out advertise a bad product. So if your book's not good, maybe advertising's not for you. Second factor is book covers. Now, people often say don't judge a book by its cover, but that's actually really terrible advice, because people do judge books by their cover, and I've got data to prove that people judge books by their cover. So make sure you have got a great book cover. If you're not a good designer yourself, make sure you're using a really great freelancer such as the ones at Dibbly. They can create super professional covers for really great value that are going to help make your book stand out. Then you've got your title. It's a great place for adding keywords, but it's how you can make a really engaging title. It's really important. Firstly, you want people to click on your title to make it engaging. It also needs to include the keywords. Then you've got your reputation. That's your reviews. More reviews mean a higher chance of getting a click through. Your description itself needs to sell your book. Again, you can use the Dibbly writers to create that description so that it really stands out and it makes your book really purchasable. And then the other things we've talked about in this algorithm, the sales history and the relevance, these are the most important parts, really. But all of these factors come in to choosing what your organic rank is. But you can basically skip all of this by advertising, and that is the power of it. Because you can, as we've seen here, you can appear at the top, even though your book's only got 41 reviews, you can appear ahead of these other books, which have got much more reviews. So that's the power of advertising. I would always say you can't advertise a bad book. So it's important to just factor that in. Now, there's a few different advertising objectives that you might consider. Now, I've got 5 here, but the main one we're going to be talking about today is the ranking for keywords. But there's also, you could just be doing advertising for building an author's brand. You could do advertising for building a book series brand. You might want to take sales away from the competition. You know, Amazon's a competitive marketplace. You might also want to just simply increase your sales. But as far as I'm concerned, the most important point of advertising is to increase your organic rank. Because if you can start making sales organically, then you won't be paying any money for advertising, which means your profit margin is going to be much higher. So let's have a look at the 2 targeting types and the pros and cons of each one. Now, when you go to create your advertising campaigns, you've got 2 main targeting types. You've got automatic targeting and manual targeting. And this is what the screen looks like. You get to choose between the 2. So let's have a look at automatic targeting first. Now, if you're doing automatic targeting, basically you're saying to Amazon, here's my book, go and do it for me. So automatic ads allow Amazon to target the keywords or the books that are similar to your book in your ad. So basically Amazon does it all for you and you just select your budget and you have no control over it. Now, the pro of doing automatic ads is that it's really easy to get set up. You basically just click do automatic ads and it starts for you. But the downside is you've got no control over keywords, which means you don't know what Amazon is pushing you forward for. It can get extremely expensive because you could be put forward for keywords which are essentially irrelevant. And I've seen in my automatic campaigns I've run before, I've had a book about yoga and I've been targeted at keywords like dog yoga and stuff like this. It's just completely irrelevant. So you're wasting money on clicks like that. There's also no incentive really for Amazon to optimize. You know, Amazon makes more money from ads, surprisingly, than it does from books. So there's no real incentive for Amazon to improve your ad conversion rate. So as a result, it just often just stays the same without improving over time. And also Amazon reports are really difficult to understand. You might, if you've got a KDP account and you've sold some books before, how difficult have you found to find those reports? I mean, let me know in the chat if you find Amazon reports really easy to look at, but I'm quite an Excel expert and I find it complicated to read through all the bits of data. And the next type of targeting is manual targeting. So with manual targeting, you have much more control. You basically get to pick the specific target keywords and the bids, and it gets quite granular. You know, you can pick exactly which keywords you want to bid on. You can pick the targeting type. You can also control how much spend you want to do for particular keywords and different campaigns. So you have a lot more control. You can choose you have control over the keywords, control over the bids, and you're able to optimize it all manually. So you, as I said, it's manual. You've got a lot of control. But the downside to it is very time consuming, or it can be time consuming. The reporting is still very complicated to understand. Amazon reports are awful. It's really difficult to understand exactly what's going on. Plus, it requires some technical knowledge. Like, you don't need to be a super whiz, but you do need to be able to understand different terms on Amazon, how to make adjustments, the reason why you'd be making adjustments, which keywords to target, and things like that. Now, there's a few terms with the Amazon reports that you'll need to understand. Now, firstly, you've got the bid. Now, the bid, the way Amazon works is that it's basically an auction. You choose the keywords you want to be targeted for, and you put in a bid for the amount you're willing to pay for a click, or POE, as I've got in this typo here. But you choose exactly how much you want to pay, or less, or how much you want to pay more or less. So say, for example, you want to rank for the keyword yoga book. You could put yoga as a keyword, and then you could bid, say, $1, and then every time someone clicks on your campaign, you'll bid around $1, depending on some factors. Now, CPC, this is one of the things you'll see in the report, means cost per click. So this means, on average, how much are you spending for each click, and how much is costing you for each click on your book. Then you've got impressions. Now, an impression is how many times someone's seen your book. So if you go into the searches, so if you go back to this picture here, so this would count as an impression. So when I searched for life skills for teens earlier today, I saw these 3 books. That means it counts as 1 impression for their report, and they'll be able to see that in their reporting. Clicks is how many times people have clicked on your book, given that they've searched a particular keyword, and you can see it on a keyword by keyword basis. Spend is how much you've spent on that keyword. So that it takes your cost per click and how many clicks you've had, and that's your spend. CTR is an important term to understand as well, because that stands for your click-through rate. So that's how many people are clicking through to your listing based on the fact that they've seen it in the Amazon searches. Now, this is what the Amazon report looks like. I've just taken a snapshot of what it looks like. Basically, it's a spreadsheet like this, where you have to see how many clicks your keywords have had, and it shows you things like the conversion rate and what the match type was and things like that. But the most important metric which you need to understand is something called the ACOS. Now, ACOS stands for advertising cost of sales. And basically, it's the amount you've spent on advertising as a percentage of your sales. So say, for example, you make $100 worth of sales and you've spent $10 on advertising, your ACOS is 10%. Now, you want your ACOS to be lower than the profit margin in order to be profitable. And so with ebooks, it's around 60% is your profit margin. So as long as your ACOS is less than 60, you're profitable. And with paperback books, it depends on the printing cost, but it's around 40%. So yeah, that's how you factor in your sales with that, your ACOS for those 2 things. Now, with advertising on Amazon, there's four issues that people see. So firstly, there's what people think they're doing versus what actually happens. So let's have a look at a couple of scenarios here. So firstly, you've got method 1, which is what we call spray and pay. Now, this is where people just overspend on ads. They don't really know what they're doing, and they just, rather than trying to understand ads, because they are quite complicated, they just throw money at the issue. Now, the problem with this is obviously it's going to just cost lots of money, because it could just blow your whole budget very, very quickly. You know, you can be lucky. You can just set your ads up, and then as a result, they can be successful. I have seen books be successful without any experience in ads. Generally, they're in low competition areas, or they've had an author who's relatively famous. But, generally, this is a problem that we see people have. Second method is what we call optimistic outsourcing. So many people on the call, have you ever tried outsourcing your ads to anyone else? I'd be interested to hear how that's worked for anyone. I know a lot of people who have just found someone on Fiverr and said, can you do my ads for me? And I've gone into their accounts and, oh my God, it is absolute disaster, just targeting really competitive keywords with no real idea for what they're doing. Some people have worked with agencies who have huge retainers, $500 a month minimum is the retainer, but you're really looking at more like $1,000 a month for an agency to manage your ads for you. So it's really, really difficult. And a lot of these people who are in these agencies are essentially just big ad agencies. They don't really care about you particularly. You'll probably be one of their smaller clients. Now, the third one is what's called the spiral of doom. And now this is where you've maybe read some books about it, or you've read some blogs about it, and you think, okay, I'm just going to start some campaigns and see what happens. And you start doing the fine tuning, and you get really interested in the data and trying to understand really minute points of difference between, a 1% click-through rate and a 1.1% click-through rate, and you start seeing what other competitors do. This is fine if you are a data person. I'm pretty good at data, and even I find ads quite complicated sometimes. If you're not a data person, looking at the minutiae of campaigns is going to be quite complicated. And so the last one is what's called the head in the sand. So that's where you think you've written a great book, your readers will just find it because it's great. Maybe you're an author, you're a creative, not an advertiser, and you get too distracted and you keep thinking about, should I do TikTok ads? Should I do Facebook ads? Should I do Instagram ads? If this is you, you need to stop straight away, because there's so many shiny objects which you could end up going after, and none of them are ever going to give you as good a return as Amazon ads, because it's within Amazon's actual platform, and it's the only ads method that actually increases your organic rank and starts giving you those sales for the free organic sales for later on. Now, I thought this was quite an interesting chart which I created, but this makes a few assumptions. But you've got creatives, people like us, people who write their books, and then you've got data people, and then you've got those people in the middle who can do both. Now, there's not many of people who are like that. I know a couple, and they are generally very successful. But if you fall into only one of these two parks, then often you need to get help doing the other stuff. Like, for example, a lot of us here, we might be good at the business side of it, which is why we outsource our writing to somewhere like Dibbly. Or we might be writers, and then as a result, we outsource other work such as ads to data people. There's not many people in the middle. And that's why we created Publishing Performance. So Publishing Performance is an AI tool which plugs directly into your KDP account, and it uses AI to create your accounts with all of the right keywords and optimize them over time in order to reduce your ACoS and to increase your sales. And the whole aim of the platform is to create basically profitable books. So we're aiming to increase your sales, increase your royalty, decrease your ACoS, and it optimizes over time. So as the AI learns more about which keywords are performing well, which ones aren't, it makes adjustments without you having to do anything. So you really can set it and forget it and just leave it for a certain amount of time to see how your book performs. So you don't go, I didn't mean to do that one. I'll sorry. Didn't mean to show the video. We can show it at the end if we've got some time. So Publishing Performance is for you. So if you've already got some books, it's not really going to help you if you haven't got any books yet, because you need books in order to do any advertising. So if you haven't written any books just yet, you might need to just make a note to come back to Publishing Performance in a few weeks once you're finished. But basically, if you've got books and the idea of running those campaigns stresses you out, like it does for me, and you don't know how to look at the reports and to understand exactly what's going on, then Publishing Performance is for you. Especially if you're absolutely sick of wasting time. Like wasted so much time going through ads, which is why we created this tool in the first place. We wanted something that was going to run it for us without relying on Amazon auto ads, which won't ever be optimized. And you want to make sure, especially if you're one of those creative people we talked about earlier, that you get your time back to focus on writing or to running your business rather than just managing ads. Now, if you're thinking about your author business as a business, running ads would be something. If you think of yourself as what a bigger business would be doing, the CEO is never running the ads for a business, so you shouldn't be running them for your own business either. And essentially, if you haven't got time, now none of us have time. We all want to write more books. We all want to focus on our business. We all want to focus on growing, learning, and becoming better business people. So here's just a snapshot of one of my business partner's accounts. So you can see here, this was actually taken from March earlier this year. So you can see that using our tool over an ad spend of 4,000. So she's got a big account. She makes a lot of sales, but over an ad spend of just over $4,000, she had a return of 12,000 in sales, which means that ACOS was only 34%. So this is profitable, even with print books, whereas a lot of these were ebooks as well. So these lovely looking reports make it much clearer exactly where your ads are profitable, which keywords are profitable, what the ACOS is on particular keywords, and it makes it really, really clear exactly where you're performing and where you're not. And this is all done for you without you having to make any adjustments at all, because it's the AI that's making those decisions. Now, the AI, it makes thousands of decisions every week, and it optimizes and makes changes every single week to your campaign. So there's a few different features of publishing performance that I thought I would just quickly go through. So firstly, it's fully automated. You don't have to do anything. Once you've plugged it in, you don't have to do anything. You simply choose one or two keywords, but then Amazon, you don't even have to do that if you don't want to. Then publishing performance does the rest. You can get set up in literally 3 minutes. So once you've logged into your publishing performance account, you connect it to your KDP account for a very, very simple window. It does it all for you, and then it's all set up. There's nothing complex to set up. It's really easy. You'll be able to get set up in less than half an hour. It's very, very straightforward. And the interface itself is much prettier and easier to understand than Amazon's KDP reports. I can see the best clerk there saying, no, when I was talking about Amazon reports earlier. Well, these are much nicer looking reports, which are much easier to understand, and you can get a really clear idea for whether your books are performing or not. And this is just a chart showing like some of the sales from when we turned publishing performance on from those months. And you can see here, another clip of the ads that we did for that month. And you can see, you can just start. You don't have to have a budget of $5,000. You really can start for just a few dollars a week. And I've got a couple of examples of that from the testimonials in a second. Now, the main benefits of using publishing performance is you can boost your sales as a complete beginner. You can advertise like a pro. You don't need any previous experience at all. You can save much more time and start focusing on writing and your business. And you can drive book readers to your other sites if you're using it as a lead magnet. A lot of people use books as lead magnets to their other business. If you are doing that, you can use the advertising to start driving people to your business. Now you can see, as this person here started with a few dollars a week, just $11 in ad spend with $36 in sales, which is a great success for this person. And we've just got a few testimonials there. So you can see a couple of people, these are actual clients who have had really great success with the software so far. And you can actually just get started for free. So when you get started, your first month is free if you use the code that is going to be put into the chat just now. And you can see straight up, this is the offer to get your first month for free. So you can either scan this code or go straight to this address, dib.ly/publishing performance. And that we put into the chat right now. So thank you everyone for this presentation. I hope that gave you a bit of an overview of exactly how ads work, some of the benefits of using manual versus automatic campaigns, looking at some of the key terms and understanding those keywords for how the algorithm works, and also looking at how it's important to understand you can't just advertise a bad book. You need to make sure you're getting that good book done in the first place. But if you're a bit stressed out with ads, or you are finding them confusing, or you don't know what you need to be doing, then check out Publishing Performance. I think you're going to find it super useful. And in the first month, it's absolutely free using this link. and it takes only less than half an hour to get set up. I guarantee it. So you can get set up and try it really easily straight away. Well, thank you, everyone. It's been great to have some time to chat to you. We've now got some time for some questions. If you want to find me on Instagram or anything, then I'm Teddy A.G. Smith on all of the X and Instagram and everywhere. If you want to find my podcast, it's the Publishing Performance Show, which you can find. So yeah, I'll just leave this screen up whilst we answer the questions. So Amika says, Derek says, what about ads that are currently in place? Will they be optimized or deleted? So Derek, that's a great question. So it won't optimize your ads which currently exist, but what it will do is it will create more ads. So it sets up new campaigns for you. So if you are already running ads and they're successful, that doesn't mean you can't use Publishing Performance to run it for you, but maybe you can leave those campaigns running at the same time and just factor it into your budget. So when you set up Publishing Performance, the only thing you need to do is set your budget and choose your books. So if you've already got a campaign that's working okay, excuse me, if you've already got a campaign that's working okay, you can leave that campaign running and factor it into your overall budget. And if you want to, you can just pause those campaigns and just start all over again. TD says they're almost ready to publish their book. How long does the free offer last? So this free offer it hasn't currently got an end date. That doesn't mean it won't have an end date at some point, but yeah, you'll be fine for the next few weeks, I guess. If you're having problems signing up with the free code, then get in touch with us. But try to use this code if you can. Amika says, how long does it take to optimize the ads? 1 month, 3 months? So that's a great question. There isn't an exact answer to that. We've seen some books which just start selling really well straight away. Some books it's taken a bit longer. We generally say try and leave it for 3 months just so that you can get an idea for whether those ads are optimizing or not. But if you set up after a month and you're not impressed, feel free to cancel. No hard worries. No hard feelings, sorry. Patrick says, how much do you charge after the free trial of a month? So again, that's a great question. So it's $39 a month after the free trial. So it should be quite affordable within most ad budgets, I think. There is a slight discount for buying a whole year, but most people are on the monthly plan. But yeah, you can use your free month to get started. Jay says, thank you for this course. And you broke down things so clearly. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know. So Sarah says, how much does the program cost? So it's not a program as such, like it's not a training course. It is just software to help you with your ads. But it costs $39 a month after your free first month. Let's have a look here. What other questions do we have? Amika says, I'd like to know how this software compares to Adsology for helping manage your ads. So I don't really know Adsology. What I will say is this manages all your ads for you. So there's no reason for you to use both platforms. Great. Okay. Perfect. Well, so Amika says, can it take over currently running campaigns? I have profitable campaigns running right now. So could it take over those or should I start new ones? So it doesn't take over your campaigns that you're currently running profitably. So what I would advise you is if you've got a campaign that's running profitably, I would say leave that one on and then pause your unprofitable ones and use Publishing Performance to run your other campaigns and just factor it into your budget. So say your budget is $20 a day and you've got $10 on one campaign that's working really well, leave that one as $10 a day and then use the other $10 in Publishing Performance. So there's a few questions about where the recording is going to be. I believe it's going to be on YouTube, but I will let Dibbly answer that one. So she's just messaged me privately. This is going to be on YouTube. Yeah. So everyone, this recording will be on YouTube. So yeah, thanks for that. And it will also be on LinkedIn. what's my Instagram address? So my Instagram address is Teddy AG Smith. So you can see that here. Okay, so Kemi's not had a great experience with publishing performance. Well, sorry about that. There's hopefully we can help you out with that. It can't help. Most people have had great results, so I think it depends on the campaign. Oh, sorry, the screen share's not on, so that's why. If I just put the screen share back. Oh, the questions. Okay, right. Sorry. Great. Some questions on the screen. Sorry, I can see that now. Let me just move this onto this screen here. Okay, so how can authors use seasonal trends or holidays to time their Amazon campaigns effectively? When do you start running your ads for the holiday season? So it's a great question. So if you're using, so not just for publishing performance, but if we're thinking about just ads generally, what I sometimes do is create ads for my books if they're relevant to a particular season. So say, for example, my book is a romance book. Maybe I would want to do something around Valentine's Day. However, generally, I don't make particular campaigns for different holidays, because the problem with doing that is, say, for example, you put Christmas gift as a keyword in your campaigns. Now, suddenly, you're making sales against Christmas gift. Amazon is now ranking you for the keyword Christmas gift. Now, if you start ranking for Christmas gift, but then come January, you might be ranking for this keyword Christmas gift, but no one is buying your book. Amazon's then going, oh, maybe this book doesn't make any sales. And perhaps actually you're going to be showing Amazon some negative negative signals about your book. So I do get this question a lot. Now, if your book is very specifically about a particular season, say, for example, it's a book about spooky scenarios, maybe you would want to do it around around Halloween or something like that. But generally, I don't do seasonal keywords in my campaigns. Another question on the screen is, what strategies work best for authors with limited budgets to see meaningful results with Amazon ads? So great question. So the strategies for people with limited budgets, I'd say if you're doing your own campaigns, I would say concentrate on the main keywords that you want to be ranking for, because that way you can reduce your spend on keywords which are less likely to convert. However, if you're using publishing performance, then over time that's going to be optimizing. So you might pick up different keywords which you might not have thought about trying to rank for in the first place. Now, this is particularly important if your book is in a competitive category. The next question is, what's the best way to optimize ads for books in highly competitive categories without overspending? So, okay, kind of goes back to my last question I asked, but optimizing ads for when you've got highly competitive categories, the main thing you want to be thinking about is what are the keywords you want to be ranking for, and what is the buying intent for that customer. So, if your book is about yoga, you don't really want to be thinking about trying to compete for keywords like yoga, because it's super competitive. You'll be competing with not only books about yoga, but products about yoga like mats and blocks and things like that. But if your book is about a specific type of yoga, like, for example, Bikram yoga or yoga for flexibility, maybe you want to think about just trying to rank for those keywords that are much more relevant to your book. Now, this is, again, where publishing performance can help, because it will identify those keywords which you should be ranking for based on your book, and will add them to campaigns for you. Jan says, can I use publishing performance for medium and low content? So yes, you can. You can use it for medium and low content books. It works exactly the same way. The keywords work in the same way. So there's no real difference to how you would set your campaigns up. You would just plug your accounts, your KDP account in, and then I would you then plug your Amazon account in, and then it would connects to your advertising account, and then it would choose the keywords and it would create the campaigns. Okay, so Charles says, I only have one book on Amazon. Would it be worth it? So again, another great question. Yes, it can be. It depends on what your budget is for your campaigns. If you're only planning on spending $50 a month on ads, then maybe you don't want to be using publishing performance because that's most of your budget. Whereas if you've got a slightly bigger budget of maybe $150 to $200 a month, then publishing performance can really help you out, especially if you're new or you want to use AI language to find those keywords that could work for you. Great. I think we've come to the last question. Is there one more? Oh, Jan says you explain things so well. Oh, thanks, Jan. Appreciate that feedback. I love talking about ads. I could talk about them all day, which is why I've lost my voice and have to be drinking this. Thank you. Well, I think that's it, everyone. We've come to the end of the session. I hope you've enjoyed that. There's a link in the chat to sign up for Publishing Performance. As we mentioned, if you use this link, you get your first month free. So it should be a really good deal for you. So you can do it without having to have any risk of overspending. If you want to find me anywhere, then my name's Teddy Smith. You can just search Teddy Smith Amazon, or my Instagram handle is Teddy AG Smith, and my podcast is called The Publishing Performance Show, where you can find interviews with people who are super successful at publishing. But it's been great chatting to you. Thank you so much, and